Hi, I'm Dorothy Gable, and this is the Biblical Dementia Caregiving channel, author of Dementia Caregiving from a Biblical Perspective. These videos are informational only and no substitute for medical care. If you or your loved one are experiencing cognitive issues, see a doctor. Grief is a lonely taskmaster. Despite the condolences of friends and family, we walk this valley alone. There is no other way, for we must work through these emotions. The sorrow that comes with the loss of someone we love can overwhelm us at times. When I was young, I had never considered grief an emotion that could be worked through over time, over years, before a loved one's passing. My first taste of loss came with the sudden infant death of our newborn son. It hit hard and lasted 6 months or so. When my grandmother died sometime later, I barely felt any grief. Was I a terrible person? Had I not loved her? But then I reflected on our time together. She died in her 80s, but had been declining for years. Over those years, I must have worked through most of my grief. As her granddaughter, I loved taking her shopping when my professional mother with a career didn't have the time or patience. We strolled shops, stopped for lunch, chatted about everything. A great storyteller, my grandmother wove tales of life before electricity or TV. The time came when she couldn't handle a full shopping trip, and I was reduced to taking her to the pharmacy or a place for lunch. Toward the end, we had to visit her. One day, the Lord called her home, and I knew she was in heaven. We would meet again someday. Most of my grief had already been dealt with. Years later, while talking with a representative at a facility where I was going to present on a caregiving topic, she mentioned the sorrow some feel while trying to help their loved one with dementia. I made the connection, remembering my own journey with my grandmother and mom. As mom's capabilities dwindled from being able to handle going to a mall, to meet her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, to us bringing the treats to her at Sienna Crest, I grieved those losses as they occurred little by little. The loss of her hearing aids and learning how to talk to her so that she could hear me. Accepting the loss of her dentures. Mom was happy without them, having slipped past the point where she understood their purpose and how to wear them. As we allow ourselves to grieve these losses in our loved one with dementia as they happen, we are advancing along our path of grief in small steps. Working through these sorrows as they occur also helps us be present with our loved ones. Having worked through our losses, we will have pressed forward on our journey, freeing ourselves to be there for a loved one in the moment, helping us turn away from a past that can never be recreated. This is where God comes into the picture. For if we take these sorrows to Him, He will comfort. Some will find help if they journal through these days, writing down, verbalizing what they're going through, and coming to the other side. Jesus helps us on this path of caregiving. I'm going to read from my book, Dementia Caregiving from a Biblical Perspective. We reach past our fears and cling to God's promises of sustaining grace. We search the Word of God for nuggets that will encourage us, as well as those that will strengthen us for the days ahead. We surrender our future to the God who holds us in His hands. We decide to yield to His love and not our anger. We seek to learn how to conquer evil with good and walk toward the light. This takes time. We need to give ourselves this time to adjust to the reality of dementia in our loved one. Remember, these sorrows we experience caring for a loved one with dementia is often grief, measured out over the days, and once settled, will help us continue on fearing not, for the Lord will be with us. For more information about this topic, check out my book, Dementia Caregiving from a Biblical Perspective, Your Guide for the Journey, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, ChristianBooks.com, and Westbound Press. Thanks for watching. Made possible thanks to my videographer and producer, my husband, Ralph Gable, creator of Electronics for the Inquisitive Experimenter.